Aw man, that citizen is a sleeper. Finally! A normal game! Citizen Sleeper was made by just a single person, taking them 2 years to make. The game reflects Harold Halbert and the questions asked here, like who we are, what meaning we bring to where we live, and if life is worth living, and to what extent. There are 3 characters that show their resistance against insignificance in this game, so let's talk about them. Starting with the main character, the Sleeper. Sleepers in this game refers to a type of people who appear to be robots. White skin, sans like jawline, and the ability to interface, basically the space equivalent of the internet. These people are corporate property, used in manual labor. An individual agrees to let their consciousness be used in a different body, leaving it in the hands of essence art, which then gets emulated into shells. The soul remains in the original human body, which rests in a cryo chamber, while the consciousness, and sometimes a few memories, are put into a robot meant to just be a worker with no rights. The Sleeper is who we are. Born just to work off a contract that technically we didn't sign. It'd be like if you were drunk and then signed some deal and then you had to wake up and all of a sudden you're legally obligated to receive 5 kicks in the balls every day. We are constantly treated like nothing, given limitations to our ability to live, like with the planned obsolescence, which basically makes it so that we must constantly be injected with a stabilizer. If we don't, we simply just crumble away, our systems failing one by one. This leads us to wanting to escape this life. Us and many other sleepers escape on some cargo boxes which are shipped to the Eye. The station holds 2 main factions, Havage and Yatagan. Havage being the chaos child of Solheim, which collapsed years ago, which also caused the collapse of XPR, but most of Solheim's assets were bought by Senatstat, which by the end of the game laid claim to the Eye, but Conway, which worked with Solheim and one of their executives, James Harden, also laid claim to the station and had previously tried to buy and sell the Eye. Also, SNR was basically trying to control Yatagan by making one of their leaders, Yannick, basically a robot. Try to keep up. While we use our interface, basically making us a ghost, we discover a bunch of different AIs, 2 of them being important to the story, Navigator and Gardener. Some people, including SNR, don't see us as a living thing, just an emulation of a person, a corporate loophole. Navigator, an AI we meet and help fight a rogue AI, tells us, if we choose to spare that AI, I think I am thinking, therefore I am thinking. We're also told that sentient AIs are also illegal in this world. This definition to identify sentience with AI should apply to us, since sentience is not legal in non-human objects and we actively think throughout the entire game. Or at least we think that we are thinking. SNRP is basically saying that we cannot think for ourselves. Anything that we do think is basically just a programming set out beforehand from our previous self's brain, which is another way of saying you are not a thinking, living, breathing thing, just a working machine that isn't considered alive. Near the beginning of the game, we also encounter one of the main hostile characters in the game, Ethan. He arrives under the hand of SNRP and forces you to entertain him by paying his tab at the end of the drinking cycle. He constantly throws negative remarks at you, belittling you and constantly physically harassing you whenever he gets a chance to. He even refers to another human as one of his own. This type of attitude is shown to us again and again by people on the Eye, whether it be the smallest of reactions or one with malicious intent. Castro is another character that uses you for their own benefit. He constantly says that he is a neutral standing party and that he sees us the same as any other person. But the moment he finds an opening, he attempts to take control of our body and halt us from doing our activities. He later tries to regain our trust again, but by that point, our sleeper already has his gaslighting tricks figured out. The third character that sees us in a negative light and wants to use us for their own needs is Anthika, a mercenary that gets betrayed by a crew member, Ashton. Anthika acts as if we are a friend at first, although it turns out Ashton had abandoned her on the Eye because he found another sleeper, the only one alive on the station. The 2 have a standoff, with her holding the sleeper's brain wires in her hands, threatening death. Ashton knows that if he had told her about the sleeper and the life-threatening condition that they were in, she would have refused to help, and would have just left them for dead. The realization also hits us like a brick, that we were being used the entire time, since she had only seen us as a bargaining tool or a wrench to be used. She treated the other sleeper like nothing. Ashton reveals her feelings about sleepers, and she later confirms those feelings and apologizes. These 3 people, whether it be from somebody we are supposed to hate at the beginning, or someone that stabs us in the back in the end, creates the question of if living in this body is worth it. Later we discover the Gardener. We are given the choice whether or not to stay in our body, or to become a part of a kind of hive mind-like world. The descriptions given here question why and how the sleeper has been able to get this far. They are in constant pain, their body constantly decays every day, requiring attention. They are constantly seen as the low of the low in the society, just a servant ready to be ordered around or some property that needs to be returned to their rightful owners. Dragos, the first character we meet, tells us in one of our first ever interactions since escaping SNRP that we are not expected to survive. With the descriptions given to us, the memories laid out on the spot, It seems as if the best choice would be to live in bliss, to let our body die, just to live in the world away from anything human, since we are nothing but scrap. But there's another feeling that resonates here. A character squeezes our hand, constantly talks to us, making sure that we are going through this experience okay, and then more memories flood in, from people all over the eye who we have helped, or who have helped us. There were a few that hadn't seen us as equals at first. Fang most likely saw us as a tool to bring down Harden. Drago sees us as another sleeper that will come and go. And Mina is afraid of what we are at first. But the three slowly begin to work towards trusting us, and then respecting us. We help Fang bring down a man that had been a part of the Eye since Solheim's collapse, and he puts himself at risk to do so, putting his life in the sleeper's hands. Dragos understands that we are going to be around much longer than he expected, and he tries to make sure that we know the threats that are coming at us. Mina grows her trust with us as we help babysit her, and assist her father in getting work on a colony ship, enough so that we are fine with her calling us a robot. Oh, piece of shit! We're also welcomed with open arms to everyone else we meet. Most don't question us as a sleeper, some defend us from bigots, some try to relate our own pains, and some will just chill with us. We're constantly hugged, hugging, laughing, and sharing memories, helping people as much as possible, and in return, gaining friends and family. In this choice we're given to Gardner, we're told of the constant pains, the reminders of insignificance we are given in our waking moment, just a machine to work. Yet, we're also given these memories of happiness and acceptance and normality throughout the entire ship. We resist faulting, to give up and accept bliss and nothing else. We understand that we are in pain, that we're sometimes not happy, but that is life. And the point of life is resisting against that little voice telling you to quit. That is our sleeper, knowing that he is a citizen of this world. So that was the first example. What about the other two? Well, Emphas is the second, a food vendor that tells and receives stories for food. He was given implants by Conway, an anchored interface rig to help him basically be in a strong suit to help him move things around. Yet after he got the implants installed all throughout his body, they were made useless after the company that installed them discontinued the suits due to how dangerous they were. They were thrown to the streets like dogs to find their own path through life. Emphas was able to find that joy with cooking, replicating precise movements that a huge machine would require in order to perfectly make foods for the public to enjoy. He seems happy with this life, even when he is in constant pain from the implants. That should seem like enough examples, right? Two people who are able to fight against the insignificance with something else? Well, there's a third example that turns the idea of resistance upside down. Peter. Peter is a DLC character, arriving on refugee ships that fled from 3 different moons, Hearth Step, Song, and Heart. Peter and his singers are from the Song moon, the first one that had been terraformed and the one to receive the worst results and treatment from the rest of the moons. He says that most of the planets constantly needed things from Song, yet they weren't treated with the same respect. These people were basically seen as those who survived without living. Everyone requiring to be a mechanical engineer in order to keep systems running, and they couldn't leave due to being the backbone of the rest of the moons. People would be able to live more comfortably on farms in the other worlds, places where people didn't have to try to worry about their lives being cut short in a matter of seconds. This fuel and hatred of being nothing, being worth nothing to the rest of the refugees finally boils over when the 3 worlds are forced to flee, or at least evacuate as many people as the ships available could take. Even now, turned away from their home world, Peter still receives orders and commands from Soul. The resistance finally beginning at the Eye. Too much history, too much bad blood, and treatment is shared between them all, leaving Peter to abandon the rest of the refugee ships and flee away to another planet. These 3, one fueled by the love of those around, the other fueled by the love of foods and interactions of people all around, and the third, fueled by the constant hate of those who have mistreated his people for whoever knows how long, all show different ways they have suffered and are fighting against it.